Hey everybody, welcome back to day 2 of the Mastering the Art of Self-Motivation Challenge. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right to stay motivated, but you still felt like you were stuck or falling behind? Trust me, I've been there myself and I was making a huge mistake, and I want to help you avoid making that same mistake today. Coming up, I'm going to talk about the book Atomic Habits by James Clear and the massive mistake that I was making that he made quite obvious for me as to what I was doing wrong and how to fix it. So let me share that with you now. When I was in my 30s, I was married, I had 2 young kids, I had 2 jobs, I was burning the candle at both ends. It was a recipe for disaster. I had put on about 50 pounds, I wasn't sleeping properly, I was working shift work while running a business. It was, again, a recipe for disaster, and I had no idea how important exercise was, or diet for that matter. I was eating to stay awake. I really wasn't paying attention to really anything other than trying to get ahead, which we did, but it came at a cost. So today what I want to talk about are some of the bigger mistakes that I made and how those mistakes could have been avoided. And hopefully, if you understand what those mistakes are, you can avoid making them yourself so that you can have more success than I had with staying motivated to keep moving forward every day with whatever goal it is you've set for yourself. So when I finished my first Ironman at 45, I spent a lot of time reverse engineering what had actually happened. How did I go from somebody in my 30s and early 40s as somebody who really didn't like exercise? I hated exercise. I had no motivation to get started, and I couldn't stick to anything. How did I go from that person to somebody who exercised from about 42 on every single day without missing a beat? How did I go from a mindset of I hate exercise and have no motivation to get started to I've got to do this for myself every day? So one of the big things that I realized was I had done a lot of things right, I just didn't know it. And it took going back and reading from experts like James Clear with Atomic Habits, what his formula is for staying motivated, and looking back and going, that's exactly what I did. Now I understand what I did right. Now I can duplicate that process. So the first lesson that James teaches us is that if you want to make a habit stick, a new habit like diet, exercise, or whatever goal you've set for yourself, it's going to require you repeating a process. Whatever process you want to make stick, whatever habit you want to make stick, you've got to make it obvious. So for example, if you want to play a guitar, well, if you put the guitar away in the closet, that guitar will never get played. But if you leave the guitar out on the stand and it's in front of your face, you will choose the guitar over watching TV or doing something else. The idea is put it in front of you and make it obvious. The other part of that is if you want to quit doing something, well, let's say you want to quit eating potato chips. Well, don't have a bag of potato chips sitting on the table ready for you to watch TV tonight. Taking that away makes it less obvious. Having it not in your house makes it less obvious. So the idea here is the more obvious something is, the easier it will be to follow into doing that new habit. And the less obvious it is, the easier it will be to quit doing something you don't want to do. So make the habit obvious. That's tip number 1. That brings me to tip number 2. Make it easy. So if the chips are in the room, they're easy to get at. If they're in your house, they're easy to get at. If they're at the store and you didn't bring home in the first place, that's not easy. It's harder for you to go out and get them. When it comes to me, I grew up with a chip truck at my house. It was always easy for me to get chips. So the harder it is now as an adult, if I don't bring them home, I'm way too lazy to go to the store and get them. So I make it less easy for me to have chips in the house, less easy for me to fall into the trap of eating bad things. If I want to go, for example, go for a bike ride or go for a run or go for a swim, I get all my gear together the night before. I make it easy so I have no excuse to say, oh, my stuff isn't washed, or oh, I can't find my whatever. Make it easier on yourself by having everything you need to do the thing you want to do ready to go the night before so that it's easy, right? If you want to learn how to play that guitar, have it out, not tucked away in the closet, untuned. The last piece of the puzzle I want to talk about today is you've got to make the new habits satisfying. And how do we do that? How do we make an activity that we don't necessarily want to do in the beginning satisfying? Well, the way you do that, first of all, is by rewarding yourself every time you do it. And that takes me to day number 2. We're going to check our box because today number 2 is the second day of whatever goal it is that you've set for yourself to complete. The goal that I've set for myself in this 30-day challenge is to actually put out a useful video packed with value for the people who follow my channel for the next 30 days. I'm on to day 2 now, and I've put out a video that talked about the 3 main habits that I took away from Atomic Habits, which is make it obvious, make it easy, make it satisfying. So the satisfying piece of this is I feel good about myself that I've started the day with another great video, adding massive value to the people who are following this. If you are trying to set up a new goal for yourself and you're not quite sure how to do that, we're going to talk about that in upcoming videos, how to set SMART goals. Every day I'm going to have another value tip for you that's going to help you learn how to master the art of self-motivation so that you absolutely have a reason to get up and do whatever it is you want to do, right? Whatever goal you've set for yourself without stopping. Here's the key in my mind, is the more you understand, the more you learn how to ask better questions that demand better answers, it really helps you stop and think about what's important in life. And it really helps you make better decisions for your life because there are certain things that you want more than certain things that you don't want. And the more clear you are on that, the easier it's going to be for you to stick to whatever new goal it is, whatever new habit it is that you want to stick to. So today's whole process was all about learning about 3 takeaways from Atomic Habits, which were make it obvious, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Tomorrow, in this video right here, we're going to be talking about day 3, which is finding your why, understanding why any of this is important to you in the first place. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a massively important video to watch because unless you know why you're doing this in the first place and you are really clear on how to make that why statement to yourself, you're always going to stop when it gets hard. I can't state that enough. You need to understand why this is important to you, and we're going to help you figure that out tomorrow. So thanks for checking in today, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video right here.